Here's a little preview of what we are making this week. Hello everybody, happy Flower Club Day. Welcome. Alrighty, let's have a little looky-loo at what we have in the box today. So, starting out, beautiful anemones. Gorge. We've got some lovely Snapdragons. You're probably going to get purple ones, but if you get a different color, that's fun too. And then one of my favorites, Queen Anne's lace. These gorgeous anemones, you don't really have to do too much. They don't have a lot of foliage on their stems, so we can just give them a little fresh trim before they go in the vase. But apart from that, they're kind of ready to go. Queen Anne's lace. The reason it's called Queen Anne's lace comes from Queen Anne of England. She was a very talented lace maker, apparently, and so it was named after her. So it kind of comes, it might be a little tangly. Don't rip it apart too hard. You can just kind of encourage it to release itself. And then we're just going to take off the foliage that's kind of hanging out down there. I love the smell of this. It just smells like a spring garden. It's very fresh smelling. It's gorgeous. With our anemones, you might, if you've been around for a couple of weeks, we've used anemones before. And the reason you might see the same flowers used a couple of times, like our anemones, they're seasonal. They're growing abundantly at the moment, and our local growers here in Victoria grow them. So we support our local growers buying seasonally like this, and because they're local, we get a great price to pass on to you guys, and they cut them specially for us, so they're beautiful and fresh. And I love that it kind of has a lot of movement in the Queen Anne's lace. So I might get some nice big pieces like this, and then some smaller little tendrily pieces like this. And Snapdragons, love a Snapdragon. When you're taking the plastic off, it's easier to tear it along the seams rather than pulling it out, because you do risk popping off the little blooms if you're taking it out of the sleeve rather than just tearing it open. So I recommend doing that. With our snaps, just taking off all of the foliage. Just hold it gently at the top, ripping it down, and then take off all these little bits and pieces too, so they don't dirty the water and release their germs. So we're going to be designing into our trusty white ceramic vase, but we're going to do an extra little technique, which is gridding the vase. And if you have seen us design before using chicken wire, we put a little chicken wire ball into the vase. This kind of acts in a similar way by just creating structure on the top of the vase so that the flowers, once you pop them in, there's less likely that they're going to flip-flop across the sides. And what that involves, usually at a florist, we'll use this called pot tape, and this is just used to create a grid. Bit uneven, no big deal. Something like this is what we'll be creating, but you don't need pot tape necessarily to do this. We're just going to do it with sticky tape, because I assume that you don't have pot tape at home, but maybe you do, and maybe I stand corrected. But if you just have sticky tape or medical tape, masking tape, painter's tape, what other tapes are there in the world? Duct tape. With kind of any tape, we can, we'll make it work. Just make sure that the lip of the vase we're going to be sticking the sticky tape to is nice and dry. Otherwise, it's going to come flying off. What we're going to do, because this is a bit thicker than what we used here, I'm just going to go 2 and 2. Secure it really well to the edge of the vase. And then, again, just going to trim it a little bit so it doesn't hang down too much and, pull lots of focus when you have lots of tendrils of sticky tape going down the side of the vase. And then what I'm also going to do is tape across the ends of the sticky tape that are hanging over the vase, just for a little bit of extra security. And then the goal, once we've designed everything, is to kind of have our flowers kind of hanging, cascading over the vase, so then you won't even really see all of this. This is what we call mechanics in floristry, and we always try to hide the mechanics. And one thing I am going to do is, do you see how this, if there's an edge, a corner from where they've gridded like this top corner, I'm just going to open it a little bit just by kind of nestling my finger in there, just because I want it to be wide enough for the stem to pass through. If it's too small and you shove it through, it's gonna just make life more difficult. I've got my vase, I've taped around the edges, and it's not too, still quite high up towards the lip of the vase. These were so closed and I put them in the sun for a little bit and they've opened right up, which is really nice. They like a cool environment. So I wanted them to open up because I wanted everyone to see them gorgeous and open. But that does also tell us when you do design it, just keep it out of the direct sunlight because they're going to want to open up and to their full potential. But that also means that they may have a shorter vase life. I'm just going to start popping them in over this fresh trim on an angle, plenty of surface area for them to drink, lots of water. And you can put more than one stem into the gap in between your tape. Or if you don't want to use tape and you just want to go for it, you go for it. And then with my snaps, I'm just kind of I've just started with a couple of anemones just to like get the vibe. And I'm just going to start placing my snaps tall and kind of cascading down throughout here. And then just placing my anemones, nestling them, and they're going to kind of create a line up here and then kind of cascading through down over here. If anything comes unstuck, that's right, just dry underneath where the sticky tape was and just give it another little piece. Okay. And then when you decide where you want to put it, you can kind of hold it up, see where you want it to go. I want it to go kind of in here. I'm going to start popping in little pieces of Queen Anne's lace. I'm going to just kind of place them throughout and see where they land. So I really want all of these flowers to have their place, and then this is just kind of supporting character. I want to kind of have a little bit of a more delicate element in amongst all kind of the bold anemones and snaps. I'm just kind of holding up against the vase where I want it to be and then placing. Some of them I will take it all off, for example, we have a lot of the filler going on, but I want one that just kind of stands up by itself and there's a bit of negative space around it so it doesn't get too bushy. Reserved a couple of anemones just to finish it off. And I'm just gonna put them throughout, just finishing off down here. And then maybe including a couple a little bit higher up. So I do have 2 pieces of Queen Anne's lace left over. I'm just gonna find them a home, probably up the back. And I might take off some of the foliage. This is where we're at. I'm happy with it. I like that the Queen Anne's lace is kind of almost growing out of the back of the vase. I really love if you wiggle it, I love the way the Queen Anne's lace moves. It's really, really beautiful. And when it comes to changing the water in the vase when there's the gridding, it's pretty much the same thing. You can just hold it like this, tip it down the sink, and then if you have a skinny nose watering can, you can fill it up at the back, or you can just pop the tap right, just sneak it right in there. And if that comes unstuck, the sticky tape comes unstuck, that's okay. Just get a cloth, dry underneath, and then just pop a new piece over. You can see that we use the tape and you can't even tell, you can't even see it. And that's the best part about it. You can kind of hide all of your tips and tricks. I hope you had a fun time designing with me this week. If you want to share your creation on socials, please do, or in the Facebook group. I'd love to see it. But I'll see you next time. Bye everyone. Bye.